Good morning, everyone. How are you? So, let's begin with a new chapter and new topic. Today, we are going to learn subject SST, class 8, chapter number 3, land soil, and topic is land as a resource. So, let's explore these things. Today, we are learning about land and resources. In 7th standard, you had learned about that what is meant by resources. What is meant by sustainable development, and what is meant by conservation of resources. That you have done this in the standard. Today we are going to learn about one resource, that is land. How we are using the land. First of all, I am asking a question to you. For what purpose we are using the land? The answer may come for buildings, for agriculture, right, for industrial making. So lots of things and lots of answers will come. So today just explore that how the land is very important in our daily life, in human's life, and how the land is very important in nature. Today we are going to explore these things. Before beginning this, some words are there. The words are habitable. It's an adjective meaning suitable for people to live on. You have learned this word in science, habitation. Right? The land is habitable. What is habitable? A suitable conditions and suitable for people to live on. Example: some areas of the world are too cold to be habitable. So, topography, the physical features of an area of land. For example, volcanic eruption change the topography of the area. Then you have learned in the 7th standard the physical features. Deccan Plateau, coastal, then the mountain areas. That you have learned. That is for the topography. So today we are going to learn about land is an important resources. Why? I told you. I asked the questions to you about why the land is very important resources. Answer is there. It provides a surface to live on. Our homes and schools are built on the land. Am I right? Our school and homes built on a surface of a land. It's a need for agriculture and for the growth of plants. Why we need the soil and why we need the land? Because it is needed for agriculture and for the growth of plants. Where the plants are growing. Nowadays, where the farmers are sowing their seeds? On the land. And last is, it gives us many useful resources like rocks and minerals. In the last lesson, what we had seen? We had seen about the minerals. Minerals. Where we found the minerals? In a lab. And we found the rocks. So that igneous rocks, metamorphic rocks, sedimentary rocks we had done in the last year. That's why land is an important resource for us. Why? Because we are building the schools and homes on the land surface. It's needed for growing the crops, and it gives us many useful resources like rocks and minerals. So, the question is that how much of the earth's surface is made up of land? Do you know? Everyone knows that we are living on a earth, and earth has been divided into two parts. First the land part and next is the water bodies. So, how much of the earth's surface is made up of land? How much of this land is habitable? Am I right? Can we live in all lands? No, because there is a lots of changes, maybe changes in temperature, maybe changes in cold. And last is, why are some parts of it not habitable? Why? The some part is remaining still, now we cannot go to live in. Some parts are there on the earth. So today we are exploring places. Land is a limited resources because only 29% of the earth's surface is covered in a land. The rest is covered in the water. I told you, our land is divided into two parts. These are the land surface, the second is the water. What is the water? So that's why land is a limited sources to us. Only 29% of the earth surface is covered with the land and other remains area covered in a water. So just take a look about that. So even the available land is not available in all places. Only 29% land is available for living, but also that is not a proper habitable in all places. Why? Some regions like Antarctica are covered in glaciers. You know that Antarctica is there and is covered continuously by the glacier. So it is not a perfect or suitable place to live. Some places such as the deserts are barren, which means plants cannot grow here. Some places like a desert. In our India, we can see the Thar desert. And in world, the biggest desert is Sahara desert. We cannot live there because of very high temperature. And there is no plants. It is a barren land. So, glacier is near about 3% on Earth, and barren land is near about 5.5%. Glaciers means some regions like Antarctica cover the land in a 3%. Some places such as the desert are barren like a 5.5% area. So among 29%, this area has been removed because these places were not suitable for living. So remaining part we can use for the living. So only habitable land is near about 20.5%. Only 21.5% of the entire Earth surface is habitable or suitable to live on. This makes a land limited resources. That's why land is a limited resources. Why? Only we have 20.5% of land that we can live on it. Other land and other part of the land is not suitable for the human live because it is very cold and maybe it is very high because of desert. It's barren land. Thus, only a small part of the land is available for living. This affects the ways in which people live in each region. This affects the ways in which people live in each region. For example, all the peoples were living on a 20.5% of lands. Let us now learn about different types of lands and how they affect the population. The first, there are some type of lands. Land is different from place to place because of the type of soil. Land is different from place to place. For example, we are living on a Deccan Plateau. The land is completely different. Some area is called mountain areas. Land is different there. So land is different from place to place because of the type of soil, topography or physical features, rainfall and vegetation. How we can classify the lands? We can classify the land on the basis of soil, topography, physical features, rainfall and vegetation. So the population of the places is also dependent on the type of land. The population also depends on a type of land. I will give the example later. In India, the land can be divided into 5 major types. In India, we are talking about India. The land can be divided into 5 major types. These are flat and fertile land, densely forested, dry and sandy, rocks and mountainous, and lastly marshy. Just look about the first point, flat and fertile land. This type of land is usually located next to a river. Where is it located? Is it located next to a river? It is densely populated. Mark this sentence. I told you before sometimes. On the basis of land features, the population is dependent. So here the area is flat, it's plains, and land is fertile, and they have the rivers. So it is a populated area because for the main what we want the food, we want a particular flat area, and what we want water. Here we find all the things. That's why we are living in this disease. That's why this area is a densely populated area. For example, Uttar Pradesh. Example, the northern plains in Uttar Pradesh. I already given an example. Northern plains, Uttar Pradesh. The next one is that densely forested land. This type of land has a lot of vegetations. It receives heavy rainfall. Why is it densely populated? Because it receives heavy rainfall, and due to the heavy rainfall, maximum plants and vegetations goes in on this land. So we can tell that this densely populated, densely forested land. These areas around this type of land are populated. Example, parts of Madhya Pradesh. For example, this area around this type of land are some populated, not densely populated. It's a populated. Next is the dry and sandy land. Am I right? So let's explore dry and sandy land. This type of land is less fertile, therefore it has a less vegetation. For the growing crops and for growing plants, what we need? We need a fertile land. So can we find the fertile land in the desert? Absolutely no. So this type of land is less fertile, therefore it has less vegetation. It receives low rainfall. Why this area is totally made by the sand and it's totally dry area? Because it receives very low rainfall. It is partially populated. No crops are there, no vegetations are there, heavy temperature is there, and low rainfall is there. That's why this area is a sparsely populated area. Examples, the Thar Desert in Rajasthan. The example is Thar Desert in Rajasthan. The next is rocky and mountainous land. This type of land has a rough and rocky surface. Rough means chada hota and rocky surface. It may be covered with the snow in the higher altitudes. For example, Himalaya. The Himalayan range is completely covered with the snow. It is partially populated in higher altitudes. Why? Because it's very difficult to reach on the places. Why? Because no transport facilities available there. That is for remote area. Example, the Himalayan range. And last is marshy land. This type of land is covered with the water for long period of time. This type of land is covered by the water for long times. It is partially populated because everywhere is water. So can we live in a water? No, that's why it's just partially populated. Example, the Sundarban Delta and the West Bengal. That total area is covered with the water because the Ganga river is very big river in India and it connects the Bay of Bengal in the Sundarban Delta. So, what we had done? We had learned about these different types of land support population of different sites. For example, the population in plains is high as it provides fertile soil for agriculture. However, in mountainous area, the soil is less fertile, therefore the population is sparse. I already taught you that. So let's recap what we had done. We had learned about the land resources, how the land is very important for us because we are getting the buildings, schools and offices from the land. Land is used for growing crops, am I right? And from the rocks or from the land they are getting minerals. Then land has been divided into some parts. These parts are marshy land, next dry and sandy lands, densely forested land and plains land and fertile lands. We have discussed about that. According to the type of lands, the population has been distributed. In some areas there is a very large population called densely populated area and some areas called partially populated area. I hope that you have learned these things. So just see the video ask me. Till goodbye. Have a nice day. Thank you.